And I believe we are live. Hopefully. Nutty's coming out to make a whole bunch of noise by the sounds of it. She had plenty of time to do it before we went live. Bloody woman. It's not like you hadn't had like half an hour while we're sitting here chatting. So I'll wait for her to finish drumming in the kitchen before we get started. You done?
What's in Drax's fridge, I wonder?
Oh, he's over by, I don't know. What? Is he gonna get enough for everybody?
He's...
Anywho, we are live for another Sunday, ladies and germs, for...
Oh, come on, Drax. What'd you put it down for?
Paradym 2, Shadow's Embrace, Session 2. Last week, hopefully everyone enjoyed last week, went very well. Guys in the chat, please let me know if the players are a little quiet on the audio. I noticed on the VOD they were a tad bit quieter than myself. I have brought their volumes up this week, so hopefully they're on more of an even par with myself. But chat, just let me know how the audio is as we go, just so we can keep an eye on it. Wednesday night was a very good session. Once again, thank you to the chat for providing a more interesting combat with a whole bunch of channel points being spent. Keeping Adok alive. Without those channel points, Adok would definitely be dead. It was probably a strong possibility one other would possibly have died as well, with the health pots and advantages and that given out. So chat, you guys did awesome. Our players have leveled to level 11. I did promise them if they made it out of the Amber Temple, I would give them another level, which is a level above the maximum for the module, but it just means a little bit of adjustment on my part for any further encounters. But they have leveled to a level 11, and we'll obviously rejoin them on Wednesday to see what they're going to do now that they're actually out of the temple and in the snow. But
Can't die from frostbite.
Quite possibly. Without any further ado, we shall get into tonight's session, however, returning back to Paradym. We will go over our recap as usual, and then we'll get right into it. So, last we left off, we had met our new recruits. Dilly, aka Dolly Whimpers. Uth Smartridge, aka Doof Smartridge, Varios, aka Vegetos, Tol'vr, aka Trollboy, and Marath, aka Minerath, which were names that had been given by the General Brogdor, the head of the Dragon Scale militia, upon his inspection of his new recruits. Firstly, you'd been given uniforms, but some of you gave various adjustments to fit and more suit your body design, shall we say. You then spent your first day marching around the parade ground. This was boring and tiresome, but you did as you were instructed. Tol'vr standing out as someone who may have done this before, and Mr. Smartridge standing out as a potential troublemaker, getting himself into a little bit of strife. Dilly, Varys and Amarath fell in line and managed to get through the day without being yelled at too much. The next day you had risen early and spent much of the morning marching once again until Sergeant Stormhammer wanted to see what you guys were made of. He then marched you over to a fighting pit of sorts, and Marath and he entered the pit, where Marath proved his skill in hand-to-hand combat. Next up was Uth, pushed into the pit to join Marath to see whether this loudmouth actually had any skill at all. And turns out he wasn't too bad. Unfortunately, he lands a low blow on the large man, which upset him a little bit. and could have ended nastily if Stormhammer hadn't have ceased the combat a little early. Next up, Dilly and Tol'vr were pitted against each other. Tol'vr allows Dilly to strike first, but as you try to drag him to the ground, with little strength that you have, you were lifted into the air, which you took as an opportunity to smack Mr. Tol'vr right in the chops, which you then were dropped to the ground. You took a blow yourself, but you tried to knock him over by rolling through, unfortunately just managing to roll through his legs, being gripped by Tol'vr's tail and lifted into the air once again, or lifted to your feet at least. Asking permission to use your own skills, you sent a lightning shockwave through Tol'vr's body, much to Stormhammer's amusement. And to Tol'vr's, it seems, as he was gritting from ear to ear at the end of it. Lastly, but not leastly, Varys joins the sergeant in the pit, who then asks, if I land a hit, can I ask a question? Which, begrudgingly, Sergeant Stormhammer agrees to. And land a hit he did. A jumping headbutt, no less, using his horns to his advantage. Sergeant Stormhammer strikes back, however, with quite a ferocious shot. But the sergeant sort of, at this point, calls a halt to the situation. He seems mildly impressed by you all, especially Dilly, it seems, who showed that the small folk are not necessarily without courage. And this may or may not have stood out to him. He's a hard man to read. Tol'vr is appointed squad leader and given a unofficial rank of corporal. He then starts you marching once again, which is pretty much where we're going to pick up. Pretty much right at the end of this marching session, he marches you around and around the parade ground again for the next 2 or 3 hours, well into the afternoon. Your feet are sore and hot. It is a relatively hot day. The sun is shining, the sky is relatively clear, and the heat in the afternoon is very warm indeed. We're going to start off with a dice roll tonight, guys. So we're going to run right into a dex roll. So it's a straight dex check from everybody. This will be essentially just a group roll. We'll take an average to see how you have fared in this marching session for the last few hours of this day. Tol'vr, you'll get yours with advantage, although with that roll, I don't think you need it. So we have a 19, we have a 20 from Uth, Varys with a 2, Marath with a 4, oh my god,
and Dilly with a 4.
And Dilly with a 4, so we've got an interesting spread here. And we will say that the spread is pretty out there. We've got 2 very low, so Dilly, your feet are really starting to give you grief. You've probably developed a couple of really nasty blisters, which puts you out of step on occasion, which Stormhammer notices, and he barrages you with a slew of insults, as only a military sergeant would. Varys, you also get those similar... Why can we not see trash, man? Hang on a second, trash. I know you're back, it's all good. You also get berated with a slew of insults about your coordination. Uth, what did you roll? You rolled surprisingly high, a dirty 20. He seems to be following you, beside you, more than anybody, Uth, as you continue to march. he doesn't seem impressed by the fact you managed to stay in time and obviously keep your spacing relatively well. Marath, I'd say you probably stumble and trip into, not trip and fall, but you sort of stumble into Uth a couple of times. I'd say probably on purpose, not out of any kind of accident. You did roll relatively low, but I think you still pissed at Uth for the nut shot. So I'd say it was probably more of a on purpose thing, and Stormhammer doesn't seem to be overly concerned about it. You're not sure whether he saw it or not, but he didn't say anything to you. He did mention that you're for your size that you should be able to march way better than you currently are, but he doesn't seem to say anything about you stumbling into Uth at this point. He calls you to a halt. It is now probably late afternoon, getting onwards towards Chow. He turns you to the left. Not impressed with your still somewhat sloppy drills. He turned around and says to you all, says, "All right, that was your lot as far as me being generous is concerned. Tomorrow, you fuck up. I got some chores that need to be taken care of, and you're just the right crew to get them done." As he walks backwards and forwards, sort of pacing in front of you slowly. And as every time he sort of mentions the word fuck up or anything like that, he looks directly at you, Uth, every time. Right. The general wanted to a status report on how well I think you guys are going. So far, I must say, I'm not too impressed. You've got a lot more work to do before you are called soldiers of this here army. If you want to earn your cloak and become one of Her Majesty's militia, you got to step it up. Especially you. And again, stops at you and looks directly at you. Alright, Throwboy, march your squad to Chow and then back to the barracks, and I'll see you at sun up tomorrow for some weapons training.
Alright, crew, you heard him. March to Chow.
Yes, Corporal.
I'm not a corporal.
Unofficially. Unofficially you are, but you're squad lead.
Sergeant stated that he was a corporal, so
Yep.
Gilly will call him a corporal.
He did call you corporal?
Sorry, I was confused. That was my bad.
No, you're right. Your unofficial rank is corporal at this stage.
Sweet.
So, do you all follow your squad leader's order and turn and march towards Chow? Bear in mind that Sergeant Stormhammer is watching you.
Yep. I would be moving.
I guess I get to ask my question later. My hooves are killing me.
I turn and follow, but I won't march.
You don't march. You get about 10 feet, Uth, before you hear the rattle, or not so much a rattle, but the sound of armor moving beside you, and you turn to your left and you see Sergeant Stormhammer keeping pace with you, looking at your feet, then looking at you, looking at your feet, then looking at you, and then he grabs you by the wrist and stops you. The rest of you carry on.
Yes, Sergeant.
I now know why General Brogdon called you doof. Clearly you have no ears and you do not understand what marching is. now. I told you there were going to be consequences if you kept fucking pushing my buttons, boyo.
I thought we'd finished, sir.
Were you told to march to Chow by your squad leader?
I believe so, yes.
Do you know what marching is?
Yeah,
Clearly
no, well,
not. Otherwise you would be marching. You've been doing it all fucking day. Drop and give me 50.
yes, sir.
I'm not a sir. I work for a living. It's yes, sergeant.
Yes, Sergeant.
That will be 60. And as you drop and start your push-ups, I need you to make a strength roll for your first 20. 14, not bad. Your first 20 go okay. Getting a little shaky on the arms though towards the end. I get another strength roll for your next 20.
Oh, fuck.
A natural 1. As you get to around the 30 mark, you're struggling. Your arms are shaking. You're not used to this kind of physical labor, and you drop to your chest. As you do so, you feel a foot on the back of your shoulders. And he says, "That's 30. You got 30 more." And his foot stays there as you continue to press, as he puts a little bit of weight on you. Every time you go up, he puts a little bit extra weight on you. I'll get another strength check at disadvantage for the next 30.
14.
14. So you managed to push through. Your arms are going to be very, very sore. When you get up, you're definitely going to be in a bit of pain. He stays with you until you finish, but he does not let you up immediately. He asks you to hold there in the plank position. Takes his foot off your back, but he just waits, doesn't say anything for 2 or 3 minutes. Need another strength check with disadvantage. Remember, you can right click on D&D Beyond and roll at advantage or disadvantage as well.
17.
17, not bad. You hold it. Shaky as you are, you manage to hold yourself up there. Just as you think you can't hold it any longer, you feel Sergeant Stormhammer just whip your hands out from underneath you with his foot. Splat right on your face in the dirt. He then turns to you and says, "Right, you just bought your squad punishment duty." And I'm just going to make a wee roll here.
Oh, they're going to love me. They're going to love me.
Well, it looks like you and your squad not getting any sleep tonight.
Shit.
You've just pulled night guard duty on the tower. So I suggest you go get something to eat, and I'll be waiting for you guys at the barracks when you're finished.
Yes, Sergeant.
Now march to Chow Hall.
Yes, Sergeant.
About face. Move it. And do you march?
Yes.
Do you march the best march you've ever marched in your life?
Yes.
You march to Chow Hall. You know, once you reach the Chow Hall door, you can then stop marching and walk normally. Your arms are like jelly. You sit down with your squad, and you can barely lift the knife and fork. It is just, it's a bit of a struggle. You get used to it after all, but it's a struggle. The rest of you would probably see this. Like, he'd pick up his knife or fork, and his hands would be visibly shaking.
Mr. Uth, are you all right there?
Yep, I'm good. This sucks. Oh, by the way, We got guard duty tonight.
Oh, wow. I feel like maybe you're going to be a very interesting practical guide to the extremes of discipline. It's going to be fascinating, really. I'm not sure you'll live through it, but it'll be very interesting.
Good to hear. Yep.
You do realize that every time he gets disciplined, we get punished.
I don't think I've ever been punished before.
Well, us doing guard duty tonight is your first introduction to being punished. Because while we're doing guard duty, we're not sleeping.
That Dilly is going to try and eat as fast as what she's tried to do the day before.
No worries. Con save, please.
12.
It's not bad. It's still you're full again. You feel really stuffed, and you know you've not chewed a lot of it. It's just you've sort of chewed it enough to swallow it, and that's it. And it's not pleasant, but you keep it down.
And I will say to Tol'vr, permission, Corporal, to go back to the barracks so I can do something before we start our... And she'll look at Oos. Duties.
What time does Sergeant say we had to meet him?
He didn't.
All right, so probably best be quick in the barracks because I think we're going to be having food and then straight to it.
Yes, Corporal, and she'll quickly take her tray to the top. And she'll walk as fast as she can, hopping from one foot to the other, as she's been doing. And when she gets to the barracks, she's going to grab her dagger from the chest. She's going to grab the boot off of her shoe, and she's going to cut around the bottom. So she's got just a little strap to hold it in place, so it still looks like she's wearing a shoe.
Yeah.
So her feet can actually touch the ground.
Okay.
So it won't blister as much.
No worries. Drax, can you just move to the center of your camera, please? You're hanging off to one side. Drax.
Oh.
All we could see was half your face before. Or you can hide over there. It's up to you.
And while she's doing that, she'll be bathing her feet, trying to get the blisters down.
No worries. Just roll a... what should we roll here? Roll a medicine check for me. Two. Yeah, I mean, you've never had blisters before, not like this. These are blisters on top of blisters, so they're painful. You're not entirely sure how to treat a blister. You think the cold water is soothing, but you're not sure if it's actually going to help much or not. But yeah, it's definitely painful.
She'll be going, "Ow!" and trying not to squeal really loudly so no one can hear it. You know, that whole muffled pain reaction.
No worries.
As she's doing this.
And the rest of you still at the mess hall at this point.
Do you think it tastes better if you eat it more quickly? Various will start eating really quickly.
As fast as what Dilly did, or?
Yeah, I'd try to match what she was doing.
Con save, please.
With my -1. Oof.
Ooh,
3.
3. Yeah, it's not really you're not sure how she did it. You tried to you chew a couple times, try to swallow it, and it gets caught in your throat. You almost have to bring it back up to chew it a bit more before you can actually swallow it. So you're definitely not as quick as Dilly. You managed to do it, but yeah, you just think, no, there's no way I can do what she does. I've got to chew my food a bit more.
Now I'm just tasting it twice.
If you're trying to build your constitution, there's only one real surefire way to do that. And that's to drink alcohol. And lots of it.
He sort of takes a note.
Or eat while getting constantly punched in the stomach.
Yes, that works too. But then that can also get really messy sometimes.
So,
But now that I'm finished, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try to find something that's gonna stop me from killing somebody.
well, we could help Dupe get his constitution up in the way that I just mentioned.
I was thinking more of how about we hang him upside down in a bucket tonight?
Well, we are going up a tower. Wait, did he tell us that? I don't know.
Well, we could clean the tower using Doof's head.
I take it this is all being said aloud.
Oh,
Yeah, we're not hiding it.
Just making sure.
To this point, there's a bunch of soldiers sitting next to you guys, and one of them sort of leans over to you, Oath, and jabs you with his elbow. Night duties. You got in trouble, didn't you? What'd you do?
I marched incorrectly.
No, you did more. You did more than that. Surely, I mean, the sergeant's a hard ass, but man, no, you did more than that to get night duty.
Okay, I didn't march.
Well, you didn't march at all.
Well, that scaly looking asshole over there. Yeah, he's group captain or whatever it is. I don't know what it is anymore.
It's called squad leader, you idiot.
Oh yeah, that. Yeah, I meant to follow his orders.
You also meant to follow my orders too. See those?
Oh.
And he's wearing a particular style of pauldron, which is different than everybody. Like anyone that's wearing a pauldron, you can see the different styles. This guy looks like he might be the same rank as Tol'vr's unofficial rank. It says, "Yeah, you're new here, aren't you? You'll learn."
What gives you? I just fucked myself up again, didn't I?
You're on my shit list, definitely.
Awesome.
Remember, shit rolls downhill here, mate. You gotta really sort your shit out, eh? I mean, you question the sergeant, you're gonna cop it, and not only you, your mates here are gonna cop it, and then if they cop it, well, I'm quite sure you're gonna cop it twice as worse from them. Happens all the time. Jared's the name. You call me Corporal.
Yes, Corporal.
And he sort of leans back and leans into his mates. You can see he's sitting with his own squad, and they just all start cracking up.
Mr. Uth, do you have some next of kin I could write down?
I'll ignore him and just continue to eat my meal the best I can.
No
Right,
worries.
maybe later then.
So with that, if there's nothing else you wish to discuss at the dinner table, you're able to finish your meals and head back to your barracks. Where you'll find Dilly, in fact. Obviously, tending to her feet.
Dinner went well?
Yes.
Not saying anything.
I take it someone's getting a hazing tonight.
We'll see.
And Dilly will squint as she puts her shoes on and tie him up, and if anyone notices, there's no bottom to it apart from a little strap just to hold it on.
I don't think anyone would really notice unless you were making it obvious.
Nope. I'm not hiding it either.
No worries. So, short time. You're sitting in your barracks, sort of. You know what's coming. You're waiting, preparing yourselves for a long night, and all you hear is, "Private Vegetas, get your fucking ass out here."
Yes, Sergeant. What can I do for you, Sergeant?
At ease, soldier. We're not on the clock now. I believe I owe you an answer to a question. You thought I forgot, didn't you?
Well, I wasn't sure, sir. I know you had some trouble with Mr. Uth, so...
Oh, I got no trouble at all with Doof. He's your problem, not mine.
Yeah, I can see that. Anyway, I've written it down, and he sort of flips through his notebook. He's like, it's a question of linguistics, you see. I do speak pretty good Common, but I'm kind of new to it, and I had a question. I went, not long before I came here, I went to a tavern, you see, and this lady there, she said if I had a few coins to rub together, she'd give me a fuck. And I asked her, I said, what? I said, I'm not familiar with the term. And, after a while, she explained it to me. But then later on in the night, I heard a gentleman call another gentleman a fuckhead. And I became confused because the lady said it was intercourse, but it doesn't really make sense that another man would call another man an intercourse head. And I was really confused, and I was hoping maybe you could show some light on the subject.
You ever been punched in the face?
Not recently, no, Sergeant.
Reaper with the gifted subs, son of a bitch. 10 gifted subs, I have to acknowledge that. Well, if someone punches in the face hard enough, you're going to call them a fuckhead. Almost guarantee it. Then you might understand what it means.
Okay.
Actually, the best way to explain this, your friend Doof, that's a fuckhead. He's going to continue to get you into trouble and cause problems for you, because every time he gets into trouble, you get into trouble. So that's a fuckhead. All right, you understand?
I do understand, Sergeant. Thank you.
All right. No more fucking questions.
No more questions about.
Unless you're gonna earn them. I mean, we might have to try again in the pit. And kind of like the idea of you trying to earn your questions.
I've certainly got a lot written down, Sergeant.
Where are you from? I mean, you're not from around here, are you? You've definitely not seen. We don't see much of your kind here.
Have you heard of the Feywild, Sergeant?
I have. I've not been there, but I've heard of it. You're from the Fey.
Yeah, it's really insufferable, and I just had to get out. I had to.
So you joined the army. But
yeah.
Why?
It seemed like a great opportunity to learn about the peoples of this place and to experience the hardship of real life, and not partying and drinking and making merry all the time. It makes me sick.
Bet some of these folk here would disagree. It's what they live for. Partying and drinking. Fighting and killing things too, but...
I needed real stakes, Sergeant. Real life or death.
Well, you'll certainly find that eventually, as long as you survive the training, that is. All right, go get the rest of your squad. Time for your duties.
And I'll go back. The sergeant wants us. I think we're gonna do the punishment duty. You too, fuckhead. He points to.
Awesome.
Tol'vr will stand up and say, "All right, everyone march and follow the sergeant."
Dilly will do so.
So as you, yes, Doof.
Yeah, I'll just stand up and fall in line. I'm too sore to do anything else.
So as
Tol'vr
you
will come out last.
come out last, no worries. So as you file out, Marith, anything you wanting to collect before you head out? You haven't been instructed that you need weapons, but you do know that you're going to be on night duty.
Yeah, I would have grabbed my trusty scimitar.
No worries.
Dilly would have kept her dagger and grabbed her crossbow.
No worries.
And
case.
me, rapiers.
So it's safe to say you gathered your weapons?
Yep.
No worries. So as you fall in out the front, and Sergeant Stormhammer again paces backwards and forwards, and he does for like 5 minutes, not saying a word, just walks backwards and forwards, almost like he's waiting for something. And he then stops, looks you all up and down. You all stand there waiting. In that 5 minutes, Uth, do you do or say anything?
Not a peep.
I was trying to decide whether Uth would have the urge to say anything. Do I make you make a wisdom save at this point?
Not at this stage, because his arms are probably still killing him.
Probably are. So I think I'll let you off at this moment. He's probably more thinking about his ruined arms and the fact that this relatively nice seeming satyr just called him a fuckhead. So eventually he says, "All right, follow me. March," and he keeps pace with you guys as he leads you out. Marches you towards the northeasternmost tower, which is up by one of the main gates. You go through an old wooden door, again iron banding, typical sort of door that you would find in a castle keep. It squeaks heavily. You start the spiral staircase up probably 3 stories, 20-30 feet before you reach the parapet at the top of the tower. And he says, "All right, your assignment for this evening is to watch this here section of wall from this tower down to that one." And he points down about 100 feet. There's another tower. There's a walkway between the two. And you have been tasked to patrol that tower, and he informs you that there is you can see it, on a stand on this tower, there's a large horn, and it's shaped like a large bullhorn, and it tapers out to quite a large sort of circle at the end. It's got a mouthpiece on it, and he instructs you, lets you know that this here horn is what you use to sound the alarm if you see anything worth mentioning. And he goes through a list of things. He pretty much says, "Right, obviously if you see anything that's attacking the keep, an enemy army, bandits, as long as they're like physically a threat to the keep, the doors and gates are all locked up tight at night, saved a few patrols that'll be coming in and out. Dragon attack doesn't happen often these days. Very few dragons are actually a menace these days. Most dragons are protected under the law of the new queen. But we get the occasional asshat dragon that decides to want to fuck with us. Wyverns and the like. You get the occasional rock. Did any of you here know what a rock is? Have any of you seen a rock before?
And I go and pick up a rock and go,
Slightly larger than a stone, Sergeant.
he gives a little chuckle.
Sergeant, is that a really, really big bird?
10 points to the wee one. Not that kind of rock, Marath. ROC, not ROCK. We're talking about a large fucking bird. You know the size of the eagles around the city? Times that by about 50. And that's a rock.
I have never seen one, Sergeant, but I have heard stories.
We get the occasional one coming down from the mountains to the north looking for food. But it, again, doesn't happen often.
DM, during my travels, would I have seen...
Roll a history check.
I did 10.
10? Probably not. You probably would have heard of them. You knew they were a bird. You'd heard that they were a large bird, but you weren't entirely sure exactly how big. So you're probably a little surprised when he describes the size as he did. Tol'vr, you probably would have seen a rock being where you're from. They do hang around the northern regions. Yeah. So up in that part of the region, you've probably seen one. Probably not hunted one. You've probably seen one being killed by the hunters of the town that you're from. But yeah, apart from that, yeah, it's probably about it. Varys definitely not. There's no rocks where you're from. Marath, you would have been more focused on other things to probably take any notice of what these things were, even if someone had talked about it. So, with that, the sergeant then says, all right, do not fall asleep, or there'll be hell to pay. You fall asleep at your post, you'll be flogged. Corporal punishment around here for that kind of thing. That's the first time. The second, a week in the stocks. The third is punishable by death. Just so you know. I'll leave you to it. I need to get my beauty sleep. And he heads through the door, back down the stairs, and leaves you to it. So by this stage in the evening, it is probably, if you're looking at modern day times, you're probably looking at about 8 o'clock. The sun is set. You know you have, he didn't tell you when or if you were going to be relieved, but you do know you're going to be here for most of the evening, if not all of it. You have a 100-foot section of wall to patrol. How you patrol that is up to you. Tol'vr, you have squad lead, so your instruction is law in this particular incident. So you would be in charge of positioning and such. You also would probably assume that someone's watching, or someone will be at least checking on you to make sure no one falls asleep. I will turn it over to you as the night draws in.
Alright. Want a couple of you to march along the wall, and a couple of you to march the opposite direction, and the other two to, well, I don't know how many there is of us.
Only 5 of you.
Yep, and then, so basically, I'm going to walk around the tower, down to the end and back again. And when one group has done that, then they can stop, and then the other group will go.
So you're going to take it in turns? So what you're suggesting is you're going to send 2 down to the end and back, and then the next 2 will go? Which will leave you to not... You probably don't have to do it. You are a squad lead.
I'll get... God, I can't remember people's names. Doof and the Goliath as a team, and...
Talk to your companions. If you don't remember their names, talk to them.
Big Boy and Doof can go as a group, and... Goat and the girl can go as the other.
We're going to have to write these names down for you.
I know, you saying.
Corporal, do you think there's much chance we'll get attacked in the night from your dedicated experience?
I don't see why anything would want to attack the city.
That's okay. I'll protect you.
Oh,
And she'll pat Various on the back. On the hind leg.
Yeah, he's about 5'9", so you're considerably a bit shorter than him.
Oh, this is
Well-
going to be fun.
Come on, fuckhead. Let's go for a walk.
So, Marath and Doof head down the 100-foot walkway first. It is dark. You can obviously hear the sounds of the night. There's an owl in the distance somewhere. I would imagine you would probably hear the sound of the occasional baying wolf off in the distance as well. There would be other sounds of wildlife in and around the tower as well. Occasionally you might hear the sound of other soldiers on the parapets and the walkway, same as you sort of look around. And from this height too, as you look over the keep, you now sort of get a better understanding of the size of this keep. The section of wall that you're patrolling is 100 foot to the next tower, and there are several towers around the outside, and there's 100-foot parapet, 100-foot sets of walkways between these towers, and there's like 5 or 6 or 7 sections in each sort of block of wall. It's almost like a large hexagonal keep. And you also know it goes underground too, so what's above ground definitely doesn't give it sort of the scale when you consider it seems like it might have 2 or 3 levels below ground as well. But you're now walking your patrol along this 100-foot walkway alone.
Tol'vr will follow the first group to the other end.
Yep.
And then he'll stand at the other end.
Okay.
As the group comes to him, each group comes to him, he'll look over the edges and look around.
Okay, cool. So you're walking with Marath and Uth at this point?
Just to the far end, and then he'll stand at the far end.
No worries. So it's going to take a little while. It's 100 feet, so it's going to take you a little. It's not going to take you too long to get there, but a little while. So is there anything you guys wish to talk about in your stroll down the wall?
Well, while I'm walking, I would be looking at it at Doof. It's like I can imagine you as a Sergeant Doof. Although it comes down to that, I don't foresee your life being around for much longer, because that sergeant's gonna kill you, or one of us is gonna kill you for keep on fucking up. I've seen it happen in the pits. So whatever's screw is loose in your head, you need to fix that. Because this dragon behind us, he don't play around nicely.
I just remain silent.
How does Marath respond to the silence, the lack of response?
No, I've said my piece. If he listens, he listens. If he doesn't, he doesn't. And then we kill him.
And Tol'vr, you would have heard the words that were said as well. You're not far behind them. Do you say anything?
It's Tol'vr will say, I see by the silence that you're taking this in. This is good to hear.
So you reach your destination of the far tower. I need you all to make a perception roll for me, please. As you are on patrol duty, you've been told that this is your section of wall, so you do need to, as Tol'vr said, he will check as he reaches the tower.
Does Dilly and the various...
Not at this point. Just these three at this moment. We'll get to you guys in a second. So Marath with an 8. Uth must be preoccupied with the words that have just been spoken to him. And Marath would have been sort of preoccupied with those words, which means he probably didn't notice too much. Tol'vr, however, I know Varys, you don't know. Tol'vr with a 10, even you. Maybe a little preoccupied, but everything seems okay. You don't really notice anything out in the distance. Before we go any further, who out of the 5 of you has dark vision? I'm pretty sure it's only Dilly that has dark vision. So there would be torches available for you to light on your patrols. There are standing torches at the tower at each end. But there is like a little steel basket, if you will, with hand torches in the basket so that you can light them for your patrol backwards and forwards. So we will just say at this point, we'll take it for granted that you would have been instructed to do that and you would have had torches with you, so you could sort of use them to get some semblance of vision. Although you are 30 feet in the air, there are going to be certain shadows and places you're not going to be able to see. But for all intents and purposes, you have some semblance of light. Back at the original tower, the starting tower, Varys and Dilly, you watch as your 3 squad mates make their patrol on foot down towards the end. Is there anything you guys wish to discuss before they return and you take over in your roving patrol?
Curiosity, how tall is the lip of the wall?
Interesting you bring that up. How tall is Dilly?
I think she's 3'5". Let me just
3'5".
I think so. Give me a sec.
I would say
Yep.
the lip of the tower, which is not unlike what you see in you guys' picture in Foundry, it is sectioned like the typical top of a castle keep. So there is places where you can look over. So I'd say even with Dilly's height, the lower portion is enough for you to probably tippy toe and see over. That would be about it. It would still be, it wouldn't be you could see easily. You'd probably have to sort of lean up over, but you would be able to see. But you would have to make the effort to see.
Various, can you give me a bit of
yeah.
a boost? I want to see over the lip.
Are you sure that's a... Sure.
Just put your hands under,
Yeah.
and I step on it. I'm really light, I promise.
Yeah.
And I'll just step on it just to kind of get a bit more of a boost over so I can see properly over the
No worries.
thing.
What you see from your tower, I mean, no perception check needed. You're at the northwestern gate of the keep. The gate that you guys actually came in the first day, a couple of days ago. So you can see the road, the pathway or road that leads from the keep back that joins off in the distance. You can just make out where it joins the main road, and often way in the distance you can see a slight glow of torches on the walls of the city of Valond, which is probably a mile or 2 away from the keep. But you can just make out the like those pinpricks of light where torches would be on the walls of the city. Again, just the noises of the night. Is unusually quiet in the keep. Normally you got sounds of swords clashing and the murmuring of soldiers, the marching sounds, but at night it's actually very calm and quiet. Slight cloud cover has started to roll in. Nothing too ominous, but seems to be a relatively quiet evening.
Dilly, do you think they'll kill Mr. Uth over there in the darkness? We'd hear something.
Dilly will look down, see if she can see
as you guys sort of both probably at this point peer down the walkway towards the opposite tower, you can see the torchlight of your companions as they're walking. You can't hear anything that they're saying. They're quite a distance away now. But they all three of them still seem to be there. They're like, doesn't look like Marath's thrown Uth over the wall or anything at this point.
Well, he seems okay. He's still walking.
Also, I was thinking, I'm not sure how we're going to stay awake, but I need to work on my coordination. And I thought about climbing up on the wall and jumping from place to place, but I feel like I'd probably fall to my death. And I was wondering, like, I was thinking maybe if I jump over you, like, I don't know if you've ever played Leapfrog.
I don't think that's a good idea. I think we're being watched, Varius.
Oh, yeah.
I suggest we march like we've been taught.
Oh, yeah. I guess we could march.
If you want, I can always, give you a slight shock every now and again. I can do that.
Okay.
I have your permission then.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know. and Dilly the blisters on the base of her feet, she's intentionally pressing on them to keep herself awake.
Okay. Cool.
You know, that pain that you feel shoot up.
Duly noted. So, back to the others. So you reach your destination at the other end. Marath and Uth, you turn and make your way back, leaving Tol'vr at the opposite tower. Is there anything else you wish to discuss on your way back before you switch places with your squad mates?
Nah, I'm good.
Another character that says fuck all unless Jesus, trash.
Well, I'm going by the fact that one, he fucked up and the rest of the group is pretty much want to kill him right now.
Yeah, he could be pleading his case about now. Could be trying to win some over with some decent conversation, you never know.
Me? Decent conversation? What's that?
Up to you.
Tol'vr will stand at the other end at attention.
No worries.
And if he feels he's starting to fall asleep, he'll just bite his hand.
No worries.
Which I know works because it's what I do.
I would actually have pulled a javelin out and started balancing it on a hand while I'm marching to try to, increase my coordination.
Roll a dexterity check for me. Just to see what you're balancing. Oh, God. Not very good.
Once again, D&D Beyond fucks me over.
With a 0, a natural 1 -1. You grab out your javelin and you sort of lay it across your hands. You think, I've got to find the center of battle. I've got to try and figure this out, and then you just drop it. Uth, make a dexterity save, please. Just to see if it hits you in the foot or the leg or something. You're pretty good.
Awesome.
As it clatters to the ground, you sort of stop and take half a step backwards as the point of the javelin would have quite easily pierced your foot had you not been a little bit onto it.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to become more dexterous. As you can see, I'm not that great.
But you're a champion, aren't you?
Yeah, that's easy. Kill doesn't use strength, doesn't use dex, uses strength. I'm strong, not athletic.
Oh, by the way, about that low blow, I really am sorry.
Yes.
Your size is kind of intimidating.
That's what they all say.
You do tower over him by like almost 2.5 feet.
And that's the thing. Everyone would be saying to him, his
Yep.
height is intimidating. So
He's a big boy, and he definitely looks strong. He is well muscled. Would you say that Marath is scarred as well? I mean, not heavily scarred, but sporting some wounds from his time before.
yes, there'd be burn marks, and from stuff, and across his back there'd be a lot of lashes from whips and stuff. So
so I'd say at this point, Uth, the fact you're sort of walking with him, you'd probably have the time to take a little bit more notice. In the torchlight that you guys are carrying, you do notice probably more so the whip marks across his back. He's got several lash marks sort of crisscrossing across his upper back.
How about we make a deal? You help me with my strengths. I could possibly help you with constitution, maybe, or a little bit on dex.
No, I think I'd rather do dex, and I can help you with strength.
All right.
And then I'd literally just hand him the double-sided scimitar. It's like, carry this around above your head for a while.
Do you accept, Uth?
Yeah.
So what weapon does Uth carry?
Two rapiers.
Double rapiers, yeah. So you're used to the light, quick weapon, the rapier. You wield it in two hands. You're able to move in such a way that utilizes your speed more so than brute strength. Marath hands you this double-handed thing. It's a pole with blades on both ends, and they're not small blades. A regular scimitar is relatively light, but I would say Marath had this specially made. It is hefty on both ends. It's a solid blade, not just with his strength, but just with the size and weight of the weapon. It's enough to split a human in two easily. So I need you to make a strength check as he hands you this weapon. It is a lot heavier than you anticipate. 15's not bad. The weight takes you by surprise initially. You don't drop it. Do you attempt to lift it up over your head at this point, like he suggested?
Yeah, I try.
This will be another strength check, but at disadvantage because of your size.
Ignore that one. So disadvantage. Okay, that's how you do it.
Yeah, so you right click on D&D Beyond and just roll at disadvantage.
So looking at 13.
It's not too bad. It's a struggle. Again, with your arms being as jacked as they are from doing the press-ups, which is why the disadvantage.
Yep.
You manage to get it up there, but only for a few moments before you have to bring it down back into your arms. And I'd say, Mara, at this point, you're probably relatively amused and probably maybe a little impressed you managed to get it up there in the first place. But it wasn't for very long.
Yeah, when he puts it back down, I would grab it off him and twist it in my wrist and put it behind my back straight away.
No worries. And with a precision that is definitely impressive to you, Uth. Like, it's not unlike your skill with your rapier, how easily it was for him to one-handed grab this weapon and just spin it and put it back behind his back and into its little holster thing, for want of a better term. So we'll leave you guys there as you make it back now to Dilly and Various. You now switch places. The two of you standing at attention at the tower, watching out over the horizon. Now Dilly and Various, you now make your walk. Torches in hand, or a torch in hand if only one of you wishes to carry one.
Dilly will have her crossbow
Okay.
ready to go, and she'll be trying to march in time.
Do you both try and keep time together?
Yeah.
Okay.
As I walk past Lily,
Yeah.
Dilly, I'd say lime and ash.
Thank you.
Yeah, it will hurt like all buggery, but it will help.
Yes, I would believe that Marath would have a little bit of an understanding of such things with the many wounds that he has sustained in his past.
And yeah. And she will say, thank you. And she goes, if I could use a spell, I could thank you face to face. Another time. And then she'll start,
So as you start your marching, I'll get you both to make a dex check as you march down this 100-foot walkway towards the other end. Again, we'll take a combined for you both as you're both trying to march in pace with each other. That doesn't look good, Mina.
It sat on 19 and then it rolled over to 9.
Well, it's
So
two
it's an
nines.
eight.
So
It's an 8.
8. Well, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. I'd say both your feet are probably giving you a little bit of hell this way, especially yours, Dilly, with the blisters. Even with cutting the soles off your boots, it's helped somewhat relieve the pressure, but again, you're still walking on stone, rough stone. As much as this is a walkway and it's been definitely walked along a number of times, it's still rough and it is painful.
It's more comfortable to her than the actual leather, so that's why she would have done it.
But I need you now both to make a perception roll as you make your patrol. Natural 1 from Various. Oh,
Natural
shit.
20!
A
for
natural
20
1 and a 20.
And just for a 22! Oh,
So we've got both a nat 1 and a nat 20. So Various, I'm not sure what you're preoccupied with at this point. That's up to you, what you believe you're preoccupied with, but you don't really notice anything. Maybe you're focusing on your marching. Maybe the pain in your own feet or hooves. Maybe you're pondering the question that was answered earlier. Or pondering new questions. Maybe questions you want to ask Dilly in particular, or anyone in that fact. Dilly, as you sort of walk, you stop a couple of times to peer over the side of the castle keep. And with your dark vision, you're able to see a whole lot more than the rest of these guys. And you see off just down from the keep, away from the wall, you see what looks to be a couple of wolves, 3 or 4 in fact, and a couple of pups. Looks like maybe now as you're sort of watching, 3 or 4, 5 small wolf pups with these 2 wolves. And then shortly after you see another group of wolves follow through. So it's obviously a wolf, probably a pack. They're probably out foraging, hunting, or maybe teaching the pups how to hunt. Small game perhaps at this hour of the night. You obviously hear the owls, you hear the other sounds of the night. Don't really see anything else of note, apart from, you see the occasional movement in the few trees that are around this area of the keep. And as you sort of look out, you can see that there's a reasonable distance between the keep walls, and then obviously a little bit of flat ground with a few bushes and that here and there, and about 20 or 30 feet out from that, you've got the tree line, which leads out into the forest, which from where you are would lead on and further out to up towards the Begilia Mountains and sort of the northern region. Off to the northeast, you can obviously see where the city would be. But that's pretty much all you see. So anything you guys wish to talk about as you walk to the opposite end before you meet up with Tol'vr and turn back?
So Dilly, why are you here? This is...
I have a mission. And I need to be really good at what I do. Otherwise, I cannot ask the favor.
Is what you do a lot of marching? Because that's kind of what we've been doing, right?
Yeah. Well, as you can see, I'm probably not the best at marching. But there is a wolf pack up there and some pups, and they're hunting.
Oh, not so good at climbing walls, though. I don't think we'll be able to fight the wolves.
I think that's not... Never mind. Where are you from, Various?
Oh, the sergeant asked this too. Do you know the Feywild?
I probably would have heard of the Feywild.
I would say Dilly would have definitely heard of it. May probably not have been there, but definitely would have heard of it. Most people have, whether it's in like stories about the Feywild or in learnings. I'd say Dilly, with her arcane knowledge, would have heard about Fey creatures with similar abilities, if not more so.
Yeah, she would have. I have. I've never been there before, though. What's it like?
You're not missing much. It's just so insufferable. Just don't bother. It's much better here, even with all the marching. And my hooves hurt, and I wasn't sure that was possible, but apparently it is.
It's called muscle memory. You need to build it up.
Right, yeah. Well, I don't know about you, but I really can't see much of anything, so I'm not sure I'm much use at this either. It's very dark, even with this torch.
And at that, Dilly will take a short stop at the shorter part of it.
Yep.
And point to the wolf pack.
Okay.
And say, there's some wolves over there with some pups. They're hunting and teaching their young to hunt.
So Various, even with the torch, you're finding it hard to make out what Dilly's pointing out because it's outside of the torch's range. You can sort of see something moving, maybe, possibly. You're not sure.
Man, it's a shame it's not a dragon. I should have liked to see a dragon. No?
Depends on the dragon and depends on where you are.
I mean, the corporeal was a dragon man, right?
Not all dragons are bad. In fact, the queen of this land is a dragon.
Oh yeah, someone did say that. Wow, do you think we get to meet her?
If we're good enough, maybe.
Oh. Might need to work on Mr. Uth.
If Mr. East's not careful, he may find a bolt in the back of his leg.
Oh, wow. That would not improve his marching at all, I wouldn't think.
Probably much better with a limp. And we're probably heading up to Tol'vr at that point.
By that stage, you would have reached Tol'vr. So Tol'vr, a perception check from you, please, as you As they reach you, you make your scan from your tower. 21, what a roll. You don't have dark vision either though, do you? So even with a 21, with the torch that you have lit, you make a scan of the horizon, even with the moon's not full. It's come off full moon, so it's about a 3/4 moon. So there is shedding a little bit extra light across the tops of the trees. So you can make out the treetops off in the distance. And again, you can hear the owls and the night creatures. But you don't spy anything that would alarm you at this point. As Dilly and Various reach your position.
Dilly will say, Corporal, only wolves to report, Corporal.
Yeah, I don't think wolves will be climbing over the wall.
And with that, I will make a turnaround.
Yep.
Do you wish me to say anything to the group?
I like the fact that you guys are marching, so I think it's probably best that they march as well.
We'll relay that, Corporal. And I will start marching again.
With that, you turn and you start marching back. And this is a good time to take a small break. So we can grab coffee, drinks, and take a loo break. You guys in the chat can take a loo break as well. Goofy with the follow, thank you very much jumping on in. Welcome to Evil's Lair. Reaper of War dropping 10 gifted subs. Dude, you rock. Had to mention it. I mean, five gifted I can sort of mention later, but 10 we got to mention at the time. So well done, Reaper. You broke my concentration again. And of course, Mr. Grim with a resub, 15 months. Appreciate it, my friend. We'll be right back, guys. We're going to go grab drinks and stuff. Don't go anywhere. Right, chat, I'm back. Just wait for these guys to come back before we get started again. But thank you very much, everyone, for coming on in tonight. As always, appreciate everybody hanging out. Yanti Magic, Drax, who's in the game anyway, but everybody that's lurking. Baz is in there in the background as well. Glad to see you guys popping in for more D&D stuff. Speaking of D&D stuff, well, not so much D&D, but yesterday, I want to say, yesterday morning, did a cool thing with Miss Yanti in the Discord with the Call of Cthulhu game system. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not a system I've played before, so it was definitely a bit of a learning curve, but lots of fun. So hopefully we will see a little bit more of that out of Yanti at some point. Maybe on stream, you never know. But it was a lot of fun. I love H.P. Lovecraft, and so anything that he's got a hand in, I'm more than happy to be involved with. But yes, so interesting turn of events for Mr. Dooth Smartridge at this point. Hey, how you doing there, Doofy?
Be quiet. He's opened up a little bit.
A little bit. We'll see how these go. I mean, he has not been helping himself much.
It takes a little bit for it to sink in, okay?
We'll get there. It's only session 2, so you got a little while to go.
There you go.
My only thing, Trash, is make sure you read your character sheet and know your shit. I mean, we've only been trying to get you to do that for, what, 3 years now?
What, only 3 years? Jeez.
I know, I mean, you guys probably been trying to get him to do it for like 20 years. Actually, it's probably longer than that, actually. Be coming up 4 years. 2 years of campaign 1, we're over 2 years, or coming up 2 years for Strahd. Right, has everyone returned and back? So, as Dilly and Varys, you turn and head back, marching your way back down the 100-foot walkway. We will do a couple more skill checks from everybody just over the course of the evening. Tol'vr, yes.
As they turn, Tol'vr will crouch and do press ups until they're about 3/4 of the way down the wall, and then stand up again.
No worries. Duly noted. So, as you guys continue, you march backwards and forwards. You get, and you stop every time. You make your checks as you stop and as you are stationary. A few hours pass. Can I get everybody to make a dex check or everybody except for Tol'vr make a dex check for the marching? Tol'vr, I'll get you to make a strength check for me, please.
18.
Ooh, nice. Smartridge. Tol'vr with a natural 1. Oh, no. Varys with a 5. Marath with a 9. So we've got a pretty interesting spread there. So the strength check, unfortunately, doesn't go too well for Tol'vr. Maybe the marching has taken it out of you today. You're not sure what it is, but you do your first sort of set, and your shoulders are really sore. You think you might have to give it a rest for a while. You don't want to wreck anything, but you need to give it a bit of a rest. And you're starting to get a bit tired anyway. I mean, it is starting to get into the probably around midnight-ish by this point. So it's really starting to get late. The rest of you, even with a couple of low ones there, a few missteps here and there from Varys. Marath, you seem to be improving. Still not great, but improving. But you make it through the next couple of hours. I need everybody to make a Constitution saving throw, please. Let's see how tired people are getting. Marath is good.
Of course, D&D Beyond's being nice on con saves.
Tol'vr is good. Various is not good. Earth is good. Dilly, what was your roll?
Mine was a 5, and I promised to shock Various. If
So
we
you both
we were
got
getting tired.
So you both got low. So we'll say that you both sort of, as you are heading back from maybe your fifth or sixth pass, you start to both feel, you sort of look at each other, and you can see by looking at each other your eyes are starting to get a little heavy and things. So Dilly.
I will shock, but I will take half the brunt of the shock since I can feel myself going tired.
Okay, so you're gonna do the old electric fence thing, shock yourself and hang on to Various at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So what I will do, because you're not intending on hurting yourself or Various, we'll make it 1 point of damage each. As you just you think, oh man, this is getting too much. So you literally place your hand on your chest, you grab, probably, do you let him know you're going to do it, or you just grab him and do it?
I don't let him know because he's already given me permission.
Okay, so you put your hand on your chest, you reach down, you grab Varys's hand, and Varys probably takes you a little bit or reach up and grab Varys's hand, sorry. Probably take him a little bit by surprise, and then zap, just a quick bolt of electricity is zapped through you both. You both will take 1 point of lightning damage.
We good?
It certainly wakes you up.
We good? You said I could.
I mean, yeah, but it would have been. Whew, it would have been good if you'd let me know first.
Then I wouldn't have woken you up.
I suppose that's true. I'm awake now, and I feel a little bit.
You'll be buzzed. For a little bit, you'll be buzzed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you smell like singed fur almost.
Yeah. Feels like there's like buzzing in his horns, and he sort of grabs at them. He's like,
Dilly's hair's slightly
you
coming out a little.
Almost look like a little bit of a light bulb, the filament going across the horns. You smell like what you ate for dinner. Oh, Drax. A little bit of burnt goat smell, a little bit, yeah. But you managed to stay awake for the next 2 or 3 hours. At about, I mean, you got no way of knowing what time it is. I mean, the time is not told in that way in this realm, but sometime during the darkness, eventually another patrol, another squad joins you on your tower, and one of the other corporals, other squad leaders. All right, you lot, we're here to relieve you. You head back to your barracks and get what rest you can before sunup. And you have been relieved. You're not entirely sure how long it is until sunup. You can make a survival check if you wish to determine, any one of you can, if you wish to determine whether you have any idea how far away sunup is.
Pretty much wondering whether it's worth going back to. Survival, I got a 17, and my survival is no, I got a 17. 17, so
we got a 22 and a 17, a 3, 12, and a 6. So Uth and Varys, you got no clue how far away sunup is. You just probably glad that this whole night patrol thing is over.
Probably feeling tired right now.
You're all probably definitely feeling the effects. Tol'vr, obviously your skills in this particular field and the amount of time you spent out in the wilderness, and Marath, obviously I'd say you probably not as accurately as Tol'vr, but you've got a rough idea. Is only a few hours, maybe 3 or 4-ish, before it's sunup. Tol'vr, you can just about know exactly how long it is. You know, you've spent enough time out at night. You get a feeling for it. You've spent a long time in this realm, out in the wilderness doing whatever you do. It's four and a bit hours, just over 4 hours away. You know that you know you're not going to get a full night's rest. You know you're going to suffer tomorrow, but you also know that this is why it's called a punishment duty, because that's the idea. So you all head back to the barracks. I would say you all collapse into your bunks, try and get as much sleep as you possibly can. You all eventually drift off to sleep, and we are now into the next day as the sun starts to rise. Nothing much happens during the evening. No dreams of such. Maybe a few here and there. Varys probably may have the occasional nightmare about the pretty parties and the upbeat songs that he's so used to hearing. Uth is probably dreaming about push-ups and pissing off the sergeant. All manner of relative dreams being had.
I assume we won't get a long rest.
You will not get a long rest, so you can get a short rest. So, but there will be no long rest, unfortunately, and all of you will be suffering from one level of exhaustion. We now move into Daedrith, which would be equivalent to Saturday, the 4th day of Azil. You are woken sharply by the sound of the gruff voice of Sergeant Stormhammer. All right, you lot. Wakey, wakey. Time for more training.
Tilly's gonna jump off the top bunk onto the ground and see if she can roll, because she didn't even give it a thought when she did it.
So
Tol'vr will get up and be the last one out again off the floor.
So you make sure that Uth is up and organised and ready.
I imagine with Varys's exhaustion, he'd sort of slide out of bed, and probably his feet would go on Uth as he's climbing down. Sorry, Mr. Uth. Are you okay? You look a bit... It's probably best you get out of bed.
Yeah, one more minute. Make that 5.
Does anyone do anything?
If everyone else had left the room,
I haven't left.
Yeah, Marith hasn't said anything yet.
I would sit up, look at him, and go, 5 more seconds, did you say?
No, 10 minutes. Yeah, 10. Yeah, that.
Right.
You guys can work together on this, hey? It doesn't have to be just one of you.
I'll go over, grab his foot through the blanket, and start walking towards the front door.
Corporal Tol'vr, do you intervene?
Oh, well, Dilly was going to say, would you like a little bit of assistance? Good sir.
Grab the other foot. Let's take him.
As I grab the other foot,
I know what's coming.
I'm going to do Shocking Grasp, again pulling back so I don't actually physically hurt him.
So Shocking Grasp was a cantrip, yeah?
Yep.
Yep, okay. So you were safe from wild magic at this point. I have rolled for arcane anomalies, and you're good. Tol'vr, do you do anything as Marath reaches it, grabs Uth and drags him off the bunk, and Dilly walks over to assist?
Tol'vr would smile, knowing that he didn't have to flip his bunk over. He's still going to be last one out, and he's still going to make sure that they're all
Yep, no worries.
getting out in an upright position when they're walking out.
Yeah, so, Varys, you step down and step on Uth as you do so, apologise, and still step away as Marath walks over and just grabs Uth by his ankle. Strength check, please, Marath. At advantage, because he's sleepy, he's not really fighting you, and you are reasonably strong. Eight'd be enough. He's not exactly the biggest person, and Dilly walks over and assists anyway. Even though Dilly is quite small, as she grabs his ankle, releases the shocking grasp, the jolt of electricity surging through your body. Actually, don't make a save. Would you drop his ankle, because you would probably cop a little bit of this as well, Marath? It's not going to hurt. I mean, it would probably hurt, but it's not going to do damage.
He wouldn't let go. He would keep on dragging him until he's out the door.
So, with that, Uth, you are wide awake in an instant.
Whoa, what the fuck? What? Okay.
Better than coffee, isn't it?
You are in your you are in your underclothes, being dragged across the barracks floor towards the door.
Okay, I'm awake. Oh, wow. Whew.
Do you let him go at this point, Marath?
Yeah, I'd let him go and just keep, and then continue walking towards the door.
No worries.
Varius grabs his notebook out and he writes, "Research human burial rituals."
With that, I get up. If I've been dropped there, I get up and go get dressed.
No worries. Tol'vr, what are you doing?
Hastily dressed and
Tol'vr
everybody outside.
Tol'vr would be like, all right, uniform on, chop, let's go.
And with that, you are all eventually make your way out. Tol'vr making sure that Uth dresses and gets himself out onto the parade ground. Once you get out there, Marath probably being the first, you watch as you step out, all you can see is the broad grin across Stormhammer's face. You get the impression he either heard or saw everything that just transpired. And you don't see him smile very often, but he's got a pretty broad grin across his face right now, which, as you guys sort of muster, it disappears and he goes back to that sort of gruff military sort of look. Says, all right.
Be out afterwards.
How was your patrol? Enjoyable? Nothing to report, I see.
Other than wolves in the distance. That was all, Sergeant.
Right then. Weapons training today. No more marching for a while. And he sort of looks at you, Dilly, looks down at your feet, and you know he knows that you don't have any soles on on your boots. And he gives you a bit of a sly wink and says, all right, follow me. I know you can kind of fight. Let's see what you can do with your own weapons. And he leads you over to a training area where Marath, Uth, and Tol'vr are led to a stand of training dummies, wooden training dummies that have got sacks filled with straw. They've got heads with a helmet on. It's all filled with straw as well. Varius and Dilly are led to a range, side-by-side range. You can see there's an archery range, and right next to it, you can see what now, as you spied earlier in the piece, what you now can see as a range meant for the arcane. It is the arcane range is made of concrete, so that if spells do go awry, that they do not kill anyone in this area. Same with the archery range. The archery range is made of wood. On either side it's roofed, but you got targets at the other end. You got targets at increments is at sort of 30 feet, 60 feet, 100 feet, and it looks like 300 feet is the longest target you can see right down the very end. Same with the arcane range. It has several target dummies at different increments along the way. So we're going to start with the melee crew, where Sergeant Stormhammer says, all right, which one of you boys wants to volunteer to go first? Let's see what you got.
Aye, Sergeant. Yes, Sergeant.
Oh, Mr. Tol'vr, squad leader, lead by example. All right, let's go. Move over to the dummy. Your weapon of choice, I see, is a great axe. Great weapon. Good weapon of choice. Not as good as a warhammer, but it'll do. Let's see what you got. So, no need for initiative as you're just attacking a dummy. The dummy's AC is 10 because it's a dummy. It's not quick, so we've got a base AC of 10. So it's just a roll to hit. We'll get 3 rolls. No need to roll damage. It's basically to see if you can hit. So the first one you swing. Sort of, you've done this before, so you're just sort of like starting out easy, just trying. You don't want to take the dummy clean out of the ground, as you know you probably could. So the first strike strikes the dummy in center mass. Pretty average shot for you though, and you can sort of you're watching as the Stormhammer's sort of pacing around the outside, sort of watching, looking at your form, the way you're holding it, the way you're sort of swinging it. Roll your second attack, please. Second one misses. You sort of stumble and misjudge the dummy, and I'd say you probably may even get a snigger from some of the other soldiers on the other dummies as they watch this raw recruit missing a stationary dummy. Stormhammer says, "Concentrate, Trollboy. You. It's just a dummy. I'm quite sure you can hit it." And your third.
Come on.
It's better. As you sort of take a breath in, recompose yourself, and come with a downward strike onto the helmet. Kang against the helmet. Leaving a reasonable dent in that helmet. Stormhammer Simran says, all right, it's not bad. Hopefully you're better against something that's moving. All right, step back. Let's see what Smarty Pants can do. Oh, doof boyo, come over here and let's see what you got. So your first attack, just a straight weapon attack with your rapier. 16. You stand, you draw we'll say we'll do for you to be main hand, offhand, main hand attack. So you draw both your rapiers, and you stand and you thrust with your main hand, striking the dummy center mass easily. Not a hard target to hit. Stormhammer raises an eyebrow and sort of says, hey, it's not bad. Let's see what you got. Keep going. And now you maybe spin with your offhand to trying to show off a little bit, I would imagine. With 11, strikes the target not as convincingly as the first, but it does hit. And you spin and slash across the midsection with your offhand rapier. And your third main hand attack, please.
Just the question, what's the HP of the dummy?
There is no HP. Well, there is, but not really. It's not taking enough damage that you would do anything to it.
Okay.
It's 2 great big logs strapped together and with a straw body and a helmet. So it's got a reasonable HP.
I just want to over-impress, that's all.
If you get natural 20, I mean, these things can happen. But at the moment, you're not doing enough damage.
Basically, I want to use Psychic Power, Psychic Strike.
Which just improves your damage, yeah?
Yeah.
We'll see what you do on your last roll. We'll use it on your last roll. Impressive. With that, you again slashing attack with your main hand across the top shoulder and sort of where the head and shoulder would meet on a person. You expend your psionic energy, and it removes the helmet, which is not difficult to do, but it seemed you turn around looking for that approval from the sergeant, looking to say, well, hey, I did better than he did, kind of thing. And he raises an eyebrow at you and sort of just nods his head and says, get back in lane. And all right, Minerath, the champion of the arena, let's see how you got there. And Marath.
Oh, D&D Beyond, you are not looking good.
Oh no, first one. Not used to a stationary target, I would imagine, and you just kind of misjudge and strike just to the right of the target. And the sergeant turns, it's all right, it's not going to hurt you.
11 the second time.
11 hits as you sort of think, fuck, and then you just spin with a left hand sort of swish with the second blade, catching it in the midsection. And your third and final attack. 17. Not to be outdone by Mr. Smartridge, you strike down with the scimitar. I would say snapping one of the arms off the dummy. You've all been taking the same dummy, so some would say that you may have had help, but I'm quite sure that Marath himself would be happy removing the arm of this dummy, even if it is only a training dummy. Well, it seems you've got some skill, you lot. Still need some work, though. If you can't hit a dummy 3 out of 3 times, then you need some more work. But let's see what these others can do. All right, Mr. Vegetos, let's see how you do with your arrows and your bow. That's what you're good at, isn't it?
Technically, Sergeant, and he sort of flips his notepad back. He's like, I haven't actually fired it before.
Well, it's your choice, son. You can either attack the dummy or you can shoot the bow.
I'd like to try. I've written. Oh, and he sort of grabs the bow, and he's like, you know, he's seen one used before, but.
DM, would it be alright if I use my the range as well?
If you're instructed to do so. At this time, it's just it's more about your main ability. For you as I'm going by your class at this point. So at this stage, it's more about your main ability than anything else. You will get a chance to practice and stuff. Like this is where, if you guys want to improve your dex ratings and stuff, this is where you'd want to do it. Like before you're hitting the rack, you'd want to say, like for your example, you want to improve your dex. You might say, well, I want to spend some time on an hour on the archery range, because that would be constant use of dexterity, or anything to do with that sort of stuff. I mean, you guys got to come up with a way to roleplay that, or even downtime it too. So it's not necessarily just about roleplay.
Nice.
So Vegetos
puts an arrow in, and he looks like super awkward, but let's see how we go. All
right, the roll to hit, sir. A natural one.
Natural one.
Well, for Christ's sake, be careful. There's people over there. You didn't even get it in the range. It went over the top. What the fuck's going on?
I duck and move back 3 spaces.
The range is that way. Like, you turn it around. For fuck's sake.
Oh, the wrong way. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. Okay. All right. This one's going to be better. That is going to be
That
better.
is better. Dirty 20. Now that you're facing the right way, you draw and you concentrate and you fire. And you find center mass on your target. Not quite a bullseye, but pretty damn close. That's definitely better than your last shot. And one more.
One more.
This one goes wide. Not as bad as the natural one, but it goes wide and he goes, oh, fuck me. You really haven't fired one of those things before, have you? I suggest you spend some time on the range when you've got time to yourself.
Yeah, I must have misjudged the wind or my ability.
What wind?
Or both.
You're in an enclosed range, like there's walls on either side.
Yes, Sergeant.
I suggest you spend more time, right?
Yes, Sergeant.
Alright, Dilly. Let's see what magic stuff you've got,
Do I aim at the target, Sergeant?
if you please.
Okay. Because I've only got magic missile, which will automatically hit.
It will.
I'm
Is that
going to use
the only
firebolt.
range? Is that the only range spell you've got?
I've got firebolt,
Okay, firebolt will
and
do.
I will do firebolt at the target.
Yeah, that'll work
That
because
will-
that's a cantrip too, isn't it?
Yeah, that's cantrip.
Awesome.
15.
15 will hit. As you concentrate, your earring glows as it does, and the little anyone who's standing sort of closer would probably see that the earring itself. Dilly, if you would describe your earring, because there'd be those who are standing quite close.
So the earring itself is a little skull, and it's got a little cyclone-type whirlwind around the actual thing, hanging from a chain just slightly below each ear, and it's completely different to the one on the other ear. Like, it doesn't kind of seem slightly different, and there's a small little gem in one of the eyes of the actual skull.
And as she concentrates on her arcane ability and her spell, mutters a few arcane words under her breath, and you watch as the whirlwind starts to almost look like it starts to spin, but it's just the arcane energy building within it. And she releases the spell and strikes the target. Not dead center, but enough that would definitely do damage. Your
She's going
second
to try.
attack.
She's going to try again, and she does a different movement this time, and then goes, "Oh, fuck, I can't do that," and goes back to doing the movements for firebolt. For 23 to hit.
That definitely
I was a
hits.
natural 19.
Natural 19, no worries. Again, center mass, not a natural 20, but impressive nonetheless. And you sort of hear Stormhammer say, "Hey, impressive. Once more, if you please."
And she's going to take a deep breath and try again. For a natural 1.
Oh no! This time, the natural 1. We'll see here. I've got to check my tables here for a second. Even though it's a cantrip, it's a natural 1.
Oh god, what happens?
In an instant, Dilly. Well, the rest of you, firstly, as Dilly releases the spell and it goes, it sort of fizzles as it leaves her hands, it almost sputters as it does so. And in an instant, poof, Dilly's gone. Stormhammer's looking at it that, oh, fuck me. Oh, shite. Stand back, everybody, just in case. He sort of pushes you all back 2 or 3, 4 paces. And then within 6 seconds or so, poof, you're back again. What you would have seen, Dilly, is you were just transported to the astral plane for 6 seconds.
This being Dilly, I'm still here. I'm not there.
Well, you're back. I mean, you went somewhere. We got to be careful with the magic. You're
And
right.
you're gonna see Dilly visibly disappointed. I'm fine. Okay.
Right. We have to be careful with that. I mean, magic's been a bit weird the last, probably the last decade or so. The fancy boys up at the Mages Tower are still trying to figure it out. But you sure you're all right?
Yes, Sergeant. Astral plane. I think I went.
Oh crap. Check in with the physician a little later just to be sure.
Yes, Sergeant. And she's gonna really look really disappointed. And she'll go, Sergeant, I have my crossbow. Since that one didn't work, can I fire a last shot and give it a try?
Sure, why not? So roll to hits for your crossbow.
10.
It just hits. Like it's a little high and to the left. It says, hey, you need to work on that a little bit. It's not bad. Maybe you look. What sort of crossbow is a light crossbow?
Light crossbow, yeah.
Because it was even then it's maybe a little big for Dilly. I mean, the crossbows, even a light crossbow, is going to be they're made to a certain size, unless she's had it made specifically for her. And
I'll let you know who it was made for after.
okay, cool. So is it right for her size, shall we say? Or was it a little big, do
A
you think?
tad bit bigger,
Okay,
but not much.
cool, no worries. So, with that, you spend the next couple of hours training on the training dummies. Now, this is where you guys get to choose what skill you wish to work on the training dummies, whether you wish to work on dexterity with archery, strength with melee combat, or arcane. You can work on your arcane. It's purely up to you at this point. So, Uth, for the next 2 or 3 hours, what skill do you wish to work on specifically?
I'll do strength.
So you want to work on the melee side of things.
Yeah.
And focus on that. Mind you, your rapiers are dexterous based, aren't they? I'm sure your attack is based on your dexterity. What's your attack modifier?
+3.
And what's your dexterity at?
Hang on. +1. So it's my strength.
So it is your strength. Okay, so cool. So you're going to focus on strength and focus on the melee.
Yeah, my saving throw for strength is +3, so I'm assuming.
Yeah, if whatever your modifier is, if your strength modifier is +3.
No, it's +1.
+1, but your save is based on that as well. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure your modifier is strength still. Mareth, what do you wish to work on at this point?
I'll be doing archery.
So you want to take your hand at archery to try and build your dexterity. Various.
Dexterity, for sure.
Archery as well. Tol'vr.
Well, I can't archery and I can't spell, so I'm going with strength.
You can archery, like just because you don't have a bow doesn't mean you cannot practice archery. If you want to increase your dex, archery is your best bet.
Also, with the conversation I had with what's the name last night, I'll try and help him with his dex.
Oh, Mareth, no worries. So Tol'vr, I didn't quite get that. Do you want to work on archery?
No, strength for max.
Strength, no worries. And Dilly.
Dilly will be practicing her archery, considering the last magic shot that she did.
Seems fair. She may have been slightly rattled by this. So you're going to work on strength, and then maybe go over and give Mareth a few pointers on the bow, potentially. Are you proficient in a bow, by any chance, Uth? What are your proficiencies?
You're muted, Trash.
Hang on, where is it? Okay, proficient in... Nope, that's not it. Proficient in survival and insight.
No, underneath your saves down that side of your character sheet, there'll be a list of proficiencies. So it'll be armor, weapons.
Simple martial weapons and simple weapons.
So you'd be proficient in a short bow, which is a simple weapon. I think even a longbow is a simple weapon as well. So you'd be okay to give him a little bit of aid. So what I will do for the two of you that are working on the training dummies and wanting to build your strength, we're going to do a series of 5 rolls for each. Again, just basic attack rolls, DC 10. What we're going to do for this session is success and failure. If you get 3 successes out of the 5 skill checks, I will allow you to increase your stat that you are working on by 1. So Uth, will start with you. 5 roll to hits. You're looking for 3 successes out of 3 hits out of the 5. You're looking at a DC 10. So with your rapier, just 5 attacks. First one is a miss.
Hit.
Second one is a hit. Third is a hit. A natural 20 will count as two of those hits, by the way.
Miss.
So 2 and 2. You need 1 more hit to increase your strength by 1.
And I don't.
So unfortunately, Uth, you are unable to increase your stat at this point. You definitely need a lot more practice. You are striking. Sometimes you're hitting. Sometimes you're missing. You're just not coordinated. Maybe it's the push-ups that you were doing earlier.
I'll go with that.
Still, your arms just don't feel quite right. Next up, we'll go with Varius, who's next in the cam list. So Varius, you are on the archery range. Same with you, 5 attacks. You're looking at 3 hits to increase your dexterity by 1.
16.
One success so far. Dirty 20 for 2. 1 miss. You've got advantage from Magic the Gamer Grim. So that's your 3rd success. So roll your last one for me. So 4 out of the 5. So Varius, you spend the next 2 hours just constantly drawing and firing to the point where your shoulder is absolutely killing you. You haven't fired a bow so much in all your life. Mina with an advantage. Drax with an advantage also. So you are able to increase your dexterity score by 1. Again, guys, if you're not sure how to do it in D&D Beyond, let me know. I will help you out. We have Mr. Stib with an advantage. So next up, we will go with Dilly. And Trash, you get an advantage as well. So Dilly, again, your crossbow, 5 attacks, please. Don't worry about marking off arrows. You guys will be supplied with arrows at this point, so don't worry about marking off that sort of stuff.
9.
9 is a miss.
10.
That is a hit, so 1 success, 1 failure.
17.
2 successes.
10.
3 successes.
And last one is a 17.
So 2 just hit there, but you manage to, again, same thing over the next 2 or 3 hours, you just focus on firing that crossbow, drawing it. It's a hard yakka to draw it and lock it because, again, the crossbow is a little tough to draw sometimes, but you're building it up slowly. So you can increase your dexterity score by 1 also.
Cool.
Next up, Mr. Tol'vr, you're working on your strength. So you step up to the training dummy. Looking at 5 attacks from you 2, please.
12.
First one hits.
Second one misses.
Second one is a miss. Third one is a hit. So you got 2 hits, 1 miss.
17.
3 hits, and your final attack.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. So as you've improved as you've gone along, and again, you are able to increase your strength by 1. Again, if you're not sure how to do it, dude, let me know in a DM later and I'll sort it out after the stream. So your strength is increased by 1. Marath, you are working on your archery.
Correct.
Because Uth has offered to aid you in this in particular endeavor. He is proficient in the bow. He comes over and gives you a couple of pointers on the best way to hold the bow and nock an arrow. I mean, I dare say Marath's probably used a bow before. Not often, as he's definitely more of a melee punch you in the face type of dude.
Correct.
You appreciate I mean, you're still probably pissed at him, but you definitely appreciate the help. So we'll give you your first attack at advantage. Remember, you have an advantage from the chat as well.
All right, so the first one, natural 20.
Natural 20, so that's 2 successes right off the bat.
And I'll just do normal.
Yep, so
rolls.
normal
See,
rolls
it
for the next
works.
4.
So
16, so that's your 3 successes. We'll roll them anyway. So third one is a hit. Your 4th attack. Also a hit.
And 19.
19. So all 5,
for 5.
including a natural 20.
See what a little bit of guidance does there.
So, Marath, with a little bit of help from Uth, you manage to strike the target almost every time you fire. A couple of times striking the bullseye, 100% dead center. You're a natural athlete. You have natural skill, natural strength. You think, well, maybe I'm not so bad. You can increase your dex by 1 also. And I'd say with the natural 20, we might give you advantage on dex-based abilities for the next session for the first hour. So just mark that down somewhere in your notes, because we are getting pretty much right to the end of tonight's session. So, damn D&D Beyond screwing over Mr. Stibb again, the chat says. So you guys spend the next few hours on your respective dummies, training, trying to hone those skills. Stormhammer leaves and comes back numerous times, leaves you with your squad lead on occasion, comes back and watches a few times and passes the occasional comment about certain skills. Those that missed, he laughs and chuckles and taunts you about being hopeless and needing more training. Watching Marath, however, he's very quiet, doesn't say a whole lot, but just watches as shot after shot Marath strikes his target. Through the course of the rest of the afternoon, appears that Sergeant Stormhammer lied through his teeth and marches you around the parade ground once again for the remainder of the afternoon, 3 or 4 hours after your training. So not only are those that were on the dummies, your arms tired and sore, your back, your stomach, your abdominal muscles will be tight and sore also. Your feet and your legs also get another workout, and you are exhausted, so any checks you make are gonna probably not be very good. So we'll get one last dexterity check from everybody at disadvantage, as you all have a level of exhaustion. We've got a natural 1 from Varius, a 10, 11, 14.
I had a 15, but then I got a 2.
Marath with a 7. So you all, as much as the sergeant would love to punish you all, he knows that you're tired. He's worked you exceptionally hard this day. Even as Varius trips over his own feet and face plants into the dirt. Does anyone help him up at this point, or do you just guys keep marching? Do you stop and help him?
I help.
Yeah, Dilly would help.
So everybody stops and helps him up?
I'd literally help everyone up.
So yeah, I'd say, yeah, Mara's probably at the end of this formation. Tol'vr, you'd be at the front. As squad lead, you'd be leading them. And as Varys trips and falls, the rest of you stop marching, turn and pick him up as Mara sort of puts his arms out around all of you and scoops you all up and pushes you all back into formation, which Stormhammer has definitely noticed. He did not say anything about Varys falling. In fact, he probably stepped forward and was about to say something as you all stopped and aided your squad mate back to his feet and carried on marching. As the sun starts to set, Sergeant Stormhammer stops you, turns to you, Tol'vr, and says, "Take your squad to dinner, squad leader, and get a night's rest. You'll need it."
Yes, Sergeant. All right, ladies and gents, we're march to the mess hall.
And does everybody march to the mess hall? Does Uth follow his orders this day?
Yep.
So, in a squad, you march towards the mess hall. You get to the edge of the parade ground where you know that you are able to fall out of formation and drop into a normal cadence and way of walking. You head to the mess hall, you eat. No need to make any rolls for this one. You are all hungry and tired. I'd say you probably all eat a little faster than you would normally in the real world, as you just need to sleep. You then make your way to the barrack room. Again, dealing with blisters and sore muscles and such. Is there anything you guys wish to discuss before you sleep and before we end tonight's session?
I'll probably be too tired to do anything else.
Lime and ash, you said, Marith.
Yes, you need to grind them up together and then dip your feet in them and just leave the powder on. It's going to hurt, but it will heal it.
Okay, I think I would have asked the kitchen for a lime before I left. And if there's
Is it the fruit that Mara's talking about? Or the limestone?
Lime from...
Limestone.
Like
the stone.
Oh, the stone.
Yeah.
Would I have known that?
I'd say he probably would have told you. Like, he would have been more specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, I'll try and get it, and I will try and grind it up and put it on my feet.
If you would probably by now, you've only been here a few days, but by now you guys would realize that there is an apothecary, there's there's medical staff, obviously you got the kitchen staff. They don't really want for much here. So if you asked the right people,
and I would have had to have gone to the apothecary anyway, wouldn't I? You were
told to go see the physician, so you would definitely.
Yep. So I would have got it there.
Yep. So you would have, if you would have asked, they would have probably given you the ingredients you needed. Mm-hmm. The physician, if you particularly asked the physician, would have said, "Oh, well, yes, we use that quite often. It works rather well." And indeed, is probably what I would have offered you. And he gives you some lime powder and the ash you can get from any torch or any sconce around the barracks.
And I let him know that I went to the astral plane for about 6 seconds after using a cantrip.
Which he would check you over and just give you, like, as far as the medicine's not overly advanced in this realm, but he just gives you a quick once over, gets you to look up at the ceiling, the sort of ceiling light to see if your eyes may have discolored, coordination check just to make sure that you haven't suffered any kind of trauma to the mind, and gives you a clean bill of health.
Yep. And as I've gone with the lime and put it on my feet, I'm going to do my own check make sure I've got all that kind of stuff. I'm going to wait. She was going to, but I'm going to wait. And check for any arcane kind of
Okay.
feeling or sensation or anything like that.
So is Dilly proficient in Arcana?
No, she's not.
So this would be just, I mean, it'd be an Arcana roll. But if you'd been proficient, it would have given you advantage. But just a straight Arcana roll.
Yeah. No, it's only a 5. But she's
As
just
far
going.
as you're aware, you're okay. Like it doesn't look like or feel like you've suffered any kind of negative effect from this. It was very brief. You were there for, like, say, 6 seconds. I mean, 6 seconds can seem like a long time. It's not a place you've been before, so you probably weren't sure that it was the astral plane. It was very weird and a very strange sensation. But you have experienced strange sensations before.
Which is why she's kind of doing the check.
So Yanti is correct. Your guys' constitution will be building just by doing what you guys are doing as well. Constitution is not just about eating or drinking. It's just your body makeup in general. So as you guys do things, as you're training, and your body is breaking down, like you're using muscles that you don't normally use, and as you're building those things up, your constitution would improve also. So we will see some constitution improvements at some point for those that do have a low con score. So bear that in mind. So Dilly, you get back to the barracks. You mix up this concoction with the aid of Maras giving instructions based on his experience. And it hurts. He's not wrong. Whatever is in the limestone powder and the ash mixed together, it hurts. Not unlike cauterizing a wound. Not to that extent, but it's on that sort of level. But after a few moments, that pain, well, it doesn't subside, but it seems better. You won't know for sure until later.
I will thank Maras, and then she'll get out her notebook and she'll start drawing what she saw for that 6 seconds.
Okay.
The exact feeling, if there was anything around her that may have been of note, even if it's just like a flash of light or something along those lines.
No problem.
And that's what she'll be writing.
Okay, so I will actually, I don't know much about the astral plane, so I'm going to have to look that up. And I will give you a description of what she sees in a DM during the week.
Yeah.
So, anything else anyone wants to do before we end tonight's session, guys?
Varus will be. Thank you all for picking me up. I don't think I could have got up on my own. Maybe we won't. And he gets to that point, and you just hear him go. And he starts snoring loudly.
Awesome. Tol'vr, anything you wish to do before sleep?
Not especially. I think Tol'vr would be just as exhausted as everyone else.
I think you're all pretty well exhausted from this day. Marath.
The only thing I'd do is go over to Doof, and I'd actually put a stone on his stomach and say, "This will help build strength," and then go to bed.
What size is the stone?
Decent. Say like 2 pound worth of a stone.
Nice.
Just enough to to make him actually
have to expend energy to lift it with his
It's
breathing.
less than a baby. Don't be a wuss.
I know, but the thing is, probably by this stage, Doof's probably already asleep. He's probably out.
I am, yes.
So he wouldn't even notice. So it'll probably work beautifully. And that's where we'll call tonight's session, guys. Thank you, team, for hanging out again for another Sunday night. It was a lot of fun. Lots of fun indeed. We will go around our panel of players and get some moments. Chat, if you got some moments at Evldoa in the chat, and we'll read them out. But we will start with, we'll just go down this way. Mr. Doof Smarty Pants, aka Smartridge, aka Trash Man. Let's get a moment from you, please, sir.
It's got to be Grim. Wow.
Which part?
all of it, but the one that really sticks out is the fuckhead one.
Yes, the question.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was indeed. Well done.
And it also broke Nutty, so I'm happy with that.
Definitely. No, it was a lot of fun. Next up, Mr. Vegetos, aka Various, Mr. Grim. A moment from you, please.
So I had two. I had Maroth and Tol'vr's suggestions about raising constitution, so drinking a lot, and they're like, you could eat, and we punch in the stomach. I'm like, oh, okay. And Dilly in ingenuity with cutting the bottom of her shoe, but like leaving a strap so the shoe sort of stays on. I thought that was pretty clever.
It was pretty good. And speaking of Dilly, on to Dilly, or what was it, Dolly Whimpers?
God. I really enjoyed seeing the three go at the attack dummy, and they're kind of trying to be better than the other. And I like that whole process. Obviously, the random comments that Grim came out with that are so innocent, and yeah, that's probably I live with this man, so I'm immune to it. So when I laugh, it's actually like, oh, this is.
Oh, he's done well tonight, definitely. Mr. Tol'vr or Troll Boy, Mr. Drax.
Yeah, I had a couple. I had the question. I had the using shocking graph
to wake people up. Yeah, that was good.
And I had Doof at dinner, basically talking to the other guy. And then, oh shit, you're that fucking rank as well. Oh fuck.
Things you got to learn in the military: who holds rank and who doesn't. And lastly, but not leastly, Mr. Marath or Minerath, Mr. Stirb.
The Grimm's question about the word fuck.
I had no idea where the fuck he was going with that. Honestly, I was going, oh shit.
I'm sitting there going, okay, crap. Right, okay, that's good. And then. Just the banter that's building in between us all. Yeah. It's gonna be fun.
It is.
To see where it goes.
Everyone's sort of starting to really, I think, start to sort of work out who their character is and sort of where they sort of can move things. So obviously the start of any session campaign with a new character, trying to sort of work out personalities and where they sort of fit into the whole thing. Takes a few sessions to get in there, but I think you guys are really starting to work on that, which is cool. Hopefully, again, as a sort of, this is my biggest stress about this particular adventure is these few early sessions, because we are so focused on training and the military thing. I really hope these aren't too boring for anyone. I mean, I'm trying to sort of make things as interesting as possible with also adding the monotony of training into it as well. So hopefully no one's sitting there too bored with what's going on.
No, I'm enjoying it. It's fun.
That's good then, because I was really stressed. I've been stressing about it since I wrote it. It's like, I don't know how this is going to work.
I'm actually really enjoying it. It's kind of a good way to kind of ease into your character.
Yeah, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to really focus on you guys as characters for as long as I can before we sort of really start hooking into any kind of main story thing. So,
also, I believe as we get more involved in the characters, if they die, it's going to be more of a loss.
That was my other intention, was to sort of gain, not so much for you guys. I mean, it's always going to be an issue for a player character losing a character, but for the chat as well. The more they know about a character, the more it makes doesn't hurt or anything like that, but it makes it a little bit more of a thing when someone is lost, whether it's through death or anything else. So
Orbasm put in a comment.
I see that. Various says, Mr. Uth, do you have a next of kin I can write down? Which was a very good one. My moment for the evening was definitely, I think someone even clipped it, was the question from Mr. Varys to Stormhammer. I had no clue where that was going. So well done, Grim. I was really concerned. That Varys was asking Stormhammer to explain the birds and the bees, and I was thinking, oh shit, how the fuck am I going to handle this? But yes, well done on that question, and it was a pretty good question, and I hope I answered it satisfactorily. Well done, dear man. Oh crap! Yes, I had to. I think it's ingrained into dwarves to say "oh crap." I mean, it's a thing for me anyway. And that one on the cantrip, yeah, I was looking at that and I'm thinking, labeled spells. Again, I rolled on, like, I got the way that the anomalies work is I roll a d12 to determine how far away the anomaly is. Then I roll a d6 to again, depending on how far away. So if it's very far away, a d6 odds and evens will determine whether it even affects the spell on a labeled spell. A cantrip is generally never affected unless you're very, very close, and that's a 50-50 chance. Labeled spells would be if they were close, but the cantrips would be a 50-50. But on a natural one, I'm thinking, we've got to do it. On natural ones, we have to roll on that table. And you rolled a pretty good one. It's not too bad. Most of them are pretty funny. Anyone who's seen the Sanctum mini venture on Yanti's channel will recognize a lot of these wild magic things, because they are I can't remember the character's name, but it's Baz's roll table from that, and I cannot remember the character's name for the life of me. So Varys wishing to see a dragon. I thought about it. I really did. I thought about putting a dragon. Brel McBarrington, that's it. I honestly thought about putting a dragon sort of flying in the distance, but I would have thought Dilly would probably be the only one that would see it with her dark vision, potentially, but there is sort of moonlight in the sky and stuff, so you may have seen a shadow of it, potentially, but that may still happen. Oh yes, the third, of course. Brel McBarrington the third. But well done, team. Another great session from you guys. I'm so glad that you are enjoying yourselves. Everyone got a stat increase, which I believe Mariath now raises his AC to what, 10?
So there's Dilly.
I need another one.
Still need another one.
Yeah.
Because what does that give you now? 9?
Yeah, I'm at 9.
Oh, okay, so we still need to work on that.
I didn't get a stat increase.
Well, you all got an increase on, or you didn't because you failed.
Exactly.
But you got an increase on your skill. Again, Drax, were you able to add it yourself? Sweet, awesome, dude. So, like I said, we can continue working on those sort of things. Like, if there's anything interesting dexterity-wise that you might want to come up with amongst yourselves to maybe work on a skill together. The aiding, actually, that was the other moment. Uth aiding Marath in the bow check, which I thought was, I mean, he just probably didn't want to be killed after the nut shot, but I thought that was a good way for Uth to maybe mend a bit of a bridge there by offering.
I reckon it worked out well.
I did. I mean, the
Every
rolls,
shot
man, a natural 20 and then every shot hit. So next week, obviously, we're back here for episode 3. Wednesday, we'll be back here for the continuation in episode 73 of the Curse of Strahd, I believe, where our players have made it out of the Amber Temple and have faced Strahd. Although it seems Strahd had an ulterior motive. He wasn't there to kill anyone, it seems. He was there after a particular item which he managed to retrieve. So the players were given a level 11 as promised by the DM. I did tell them that if they made it out of the Amber Temple, I would give them a level, which they have done. They've rolled their HP. So we'll be starting with them at level 11, still at the Amber Temple, but outside. Hope we'll see what they do after that and what happens. They do know where this. They potentially do know where the item that has been taken is. Whether they decide to go after it is up to them. But I know Karnos has been drawn to the township of Kresk, so I'm pretty sure he's going to push to go there. We're going to raid. I'll be back tomorrow with some map making, working on some more mini adventure maps. I have dozens upon dozens of these things now. I got a whole bunch more from DM Dave the other day, and I got some other ones that I'm working on myself as well. So, catch you bears. Have a good one. I'll see you Friday for our D&D. And we will see the rest of you guys when we see you. We're going to raid... Who are we going to raid? Where is it? Stormy Dragon Tavern. So we're going to start that raid now. We're going to say goodnight, and we will see you guys on the next one.